Hello, hello. My name is Tasnim Faruque, and this is going to be the second case study for forensic botany. This is going to be suicide or homicide solved through botanical investigation. So, for a case recap, there is a 22-year-old female who was found dead at a shopping mall in Siena. Many said that she fell from the terrace, which is why it was initially thought that it was a suicide. Medical examiners from the Institute of Forensic Medicine of the University of Siena began investigation almost immediately. The stairs that she had jumped from was not easily accessible by the users of the building, and it entailed a rather complicated path because it was close to the public. Investigators were to determine whether this case was a suicide, a homicide, or if it was accidental. Now, what were the forensic techniques being used and analyzed for this case? Investigation of this case included viewing many images on surveillance cameras. However, due to the area that it was in, there was very limited surveillance cameras available, so there was only one camera that caught the individual. Additionally, because it was in a route that was not accessible or easily accessible through the public, there was no witnesses available. Due to this, they took another route of investigation for this inspection, and they were able to find that there were traces of mosses removed from the masonry parapet of the terrace, and those were also found under the shoes of the victim. The analysis of the grounds confirmed detection of the presence of the mosses, which is why they were sampled in sterile test tubes. Finally, when the process of the victim's autopsy was being undergone, her hands and nails were also analyzed for foreign matter. To identify the species and compare the samples, the botanical specimens that were sampled were mounted on a slide and observed through a stereo microscope. Dichotomous identification keys had aided in concluding the two species that were found. The presence of removed bryophytes on the shoes of the girl, as well as on the masonry parapet of the terrace, while also finding presence of the same bryophytes on the stairs, allowed proper reconstruction of the accident, which yielded the conclusion indicating that it was actually a suicide. So this was the stereo microscope that was used to do the investigation, and they used a dichotomous key to narrow down to the two findings. The first one on the left is the specimen of a Tortilla moralis bryophyte, which was found on the crime scene, and then on the right is a specimen of a Bryum capillare found on the crime scene. Now, what are the scientific principles behind these techniques? Using these techniques within forensic botany entails principles of having a thorough understanding as well as knowledge of biology. The nature of bryophytes allow thorough DNA analysis, and having the extensive knowledge and experience of the processes as well as the nature of bryophyte species can yield sufficient morphological variability and complexability to be phylogenetically informative. They aid in postmortem interval determination. They can aid in complete skeletonization of an individual, and it can yield a variety of links between the environments as well as the individuals of the scene. These techniques also guarantee repeatability, reproducibility, and accuracy. And these are my resources.